What's up, everybody? Colin Goodwin here, and today is going to be one of everybody's favorite demonstrations, and that's the maintenance. Why is it everybody's favorite? Because it's likely one of the biggest time sucks you have on your entire business. What I'm about to show you in this demonstration could literally be an entire business in itself. You ask me how I know, I've done it. The process that I'm about to show you that you can implement in your property management system, whether you have in-house technicians or if you use third-party vendors or if you're thinking about starting your own maintenance program, number one, I highly recommend it. There's definitely a need to monetize different revenue streams in the property management industry for many reasons. But with that said, what you will have here is a fully integrated maintenance solution that will not only track your work orders, but it will track your technicians down to the minute. It will allow you to take photos of every single work order from the field, update your clients in real time, have photos, video documentation. Not only that, once the work is complete, it'll automatically generate an invoice. Like I said, I've put a ton of time into this workflow because I used it as an entire business. And so what I'm about to show you today will significantly impact the performance of your business. So the maintenance workspace is made up of three main apps, and that's work orders, time cards, and then non-billable time cards. The reason for this is I actually had in-house technicians performing the work. So I wanted to track every single hour of their day. So they would clock in and clock out, and I would compare that to all the time cards that they submitted. So you can see here in my dashboard, I can see how many people clocked in, how many hours were billed. So it's showing one guy at 12.75 hours, pretty good day there. But if you've got, we had up to 15, 20 technicians using this at any given time. You can see if your non-billable gauge is off the charts, you've got something to take note of, because you want to make sure that your technicians are efficient and they're using their time wisely. So the first app is really the core of everything. So work orders is the central hub for everything. And we use relationship fields to add individual time cards to work orders. The point being, the work order app is smart enough to add up all the individual time cards. Say you've got 4 technicians on one job. Each of them puts in an 8-hour day. You've got 32 hours, man hours logged. Well, the work order will notice that all 4 technicians were on the same job, and it'll add up for 32 man hours. Once it's marked complete, it'll go to the client as a bill. Your life is good. So let's dive in. So now you're in the dashboard. You can see at any given time how many work orders you have in the queue. And one of my favorite features is I can see open, in progress, review, and complete. Now, if you're wondering right off the bat what this review status is, when my technicians marked this job complete on their end, it went into review status on my end so I could review it. Because once that complete button is hit, remember, invoice is generated and automatically billed to the client. So we can see if we've got any emergency work orders. So if we show up to work and we've got an emergency, we simply click on this button and it automatically filters for the emergency work order. So very cool, very powerful stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and dive into a work order that is in progress. As you can see, as soon as I open this up, I have a plethora of information. I've got the work order number, I've got the date that it was originally submitted, I've got the address of the property. It auto-populates the owner of the property, auto-populates the owner's information. That way, if my technicians are going to the property, they have the right person's contact information. The system's smart enough to know if it's owner occupied or tenant occupied, and it can display the right information. So very powerful there. Now, one thing that we used in our business that was unique is, in addition to a management commission, we offered maintenance subscription plans to our customers, and we actually offered this to external users of our service. So if you are a primary homeowner, you could buy this program for your residents. And really what it was a monthly subscription program that would afford you routine checkups, a certain allotment of service calls for you to use at your leisure at any given time. And it also afforded you premium pricing. We gave a discounted rate to our members. We didn't charge any markups on materials. There's a ton of bonuses that went along with that. Not only were there bonuses for the clients, but it increased a source of revenue for our company, a monthly recurring revenue source, which I'm a huge fan. That's my most liked source of revenue, and that's monthly membership recurring revenue. So you can see this specific client did not have that. So they have no credits. The discount is 0. So based on the subscription plan that they bought, they could literally go to the website, Opt-in, we had 4 levels of the program. Based on whatever level of the program they purchased, it would show up in this portion and the rest auto-populated. So if they had 4 credits, meaning 4 service calls, it would show 4. When we completed one, it would take it off the list. It kept a continuous count, and based on their subscription level, it gave a discount on the hourly rate. So one thing that I want to point out before I go any further, you can see over here in the reference that this work order references a quote, and it's very methodical on the issue or the scope of work. That's because prior to commencing any work at all, we actually sent our client a quote. We listed the scope of services in great details. We wrote the estimated labor hours. The calculator automatically added everything up here. All we did was send this by the click of a button. You can see right here, and the quote went out for electronic signature. It auto populated all the figures. I'm going to show you right here. The quote went out to the client, gave them all the information that they needed, gave them the details, the scope of services, the whole 9 yards, allowed that client to sign on the spot. Once that was signed and accepted by the client, it automatically created a work order for the exact scope of services that was approved by the owner. Our technicians then knew that they had authority to go out and commence that work and get it completed. One of the most powerful tools I've ever used in my business. Literally, the technicians could go to a job, type in the estimated hours and the estimated materials, press a button, it would send, the client would literally sign the document, it would come back, I wouldn't have to track anything. As soon as it was signed, it would come back in the system, automatically approve and accept the work order, and then generate a work order with the exact scope of services that was approved. That way there was no question. It took me out of the equation. It took all the middle portions that you may be struggling with in your business out of the equation, and literally went from technician to client back in the system, signed approval, do the entire job. And oh, by the way, the system is going to keep track every single minute that was spent there, every single material that was purchased in support of this job. Literally, as a business owner, I was completely out of the equation. So as a business owner, you'll know the beauty of that. So now that we've established our scope of work, our technicians have some additional fields which they can work off of. You can see once that came in, it automatically marked it approved. It's a routine priority. That way the technicians know that it can be scheduled in a routine fashion as opposed to an urgent or emergency. So we set standards. This is up to 72 hours response. This is within 24 hours, and this is immediate. So that's the way we handled our work order processing. The work type was a renovation. It was a general category. There was multiple trades working on this, so we didn't select a single individual one. But where this is powerful, at the end of the year, you can sort, filter for individual trades, and you can do projections and returns based on the trade. So very powerful stuff. You can see it was in-house execution, and I had a specific technician assigned. In this case, the technician was the supervisor because multiple technicians worked under this job. Now, in the case that it was outsourced to a vendor, we could simply select vendor outsource, add the vendor's name. It would automatically register their email, schedule a date and a time slot, and it would literally send that vendor an email saying, hey, you've been assigned, please click yes or no to accept this work. If they clicked yes, it would automatically send them a time card and allow them to log hours outside of our system, and that's the most powerful part. Now you can see up to this point in time, only 1 hour of cumulative duration has been logged against this work order. 10 miles were driven. I did not charge this to my clients, but I kept track of it internally if my employees were driving a POV or even a company-owned vehicle. I wanted those metrics. And you can see this technician has not purchased any materials against this job. Now, how does the system know that? Well, you can see down here it says the project update log. The technician dropped off tools and began the trim installation. But where did that information come from? And it's from the almighty time card. So I'm going to open this in a new tab and show you exactly what the technician sees, because they're not working directly off this work order. So when a technician is assigned to a job, they have to submit a time card for every action. I told my technicians, every time you leave a job, every time you get in your vehicle, before you drive off, you have to log a single time card. So one job, one time card. So if you went to 8 jobs, you've got 8 time cards that day. You can see, so this specific technician logged his time, logged the date, and I always had to create it on date and a timestamp. This was something they couldn't control. So if these dates didn't match, I knew that they did it after the fact, before. This information could not be manipulated. You can see this technician spent an hour at the job, drove 10 miles, and dropped off the tools. Then I have some basic quality assurance questions that I want to make sure our technicians are taking care of every single time. You can use this as a checklist, or you can literally read this every time. And if there's ever a dispute, you can have this information at your fingertips. So I always wanted to know, did you enter the property? Yes or no? Was the client present? So those two questions give you a ton of information. The project is still in progress, meaning the job is not complete. And I rarely let anybody mark complete unless it was a individual technician, a higher level service tech, or it was a supervisor, because I wanted to make sure the job was done. And remember, even if they did complete, it wouldn't send a bill. It would simply put the work order in review status. So I'm going to walk you through these time cards real quick and show you exactly how it works. So as we just went over, the one technician has been to this job and spent an hour, driven 10 miles, and has logged no materials. But say another technician goes back the next day and the work order's got to keep up. So what the technician is actually going to do, they're going to submit a time card against this work order. Remember, one action, one time card. So I'm going to submit myself, and all they need to know is this work order number. So I had it auto-populate on their Podio calendar, another feature that is a huge bonus. Technicians can show up, look at their Podio calendar, and see exactly what they have on the schedule for the day. So it would have a link and say work order number 134, you've been assigned. So they're simply going to select work order 134, and you can see the system automatically recognizes the address, the current status of the job. So you can see this created on date. That's the quality assurance check that I mentioned earlier. I can't do anything with that, but I'm going to say, hey, today's date's the 7th. I'm going to mark that. So say that I was at the job for 2 hours and 22 minutes, and I drove 2 miles, and I spent $131 of materials. Now I'm going to mark lumber and paint, what materials I used. And I'm going to give an update. And Podio has a beautiful iPhone app that allows all this information to be input on a mobile device. And I will say that at any given time, up to 15 technicians, we usually had only one person on a computer, and it was a controller, so this worked beautifully all on mobile. So I'm going to say, yes, I entered the property. Yes, the person was home. And I'm going to go ahead and mark this complete. Yep, we got the job done, boss. And I'm going to save that time card. So now that I'm back at my work order, you can see that it's automatically has updated the time, it's automatically updated the mileage, it's automatically updated the materials, and it's automatically updated the log. Not only that, it's updated this into review status so that I know as a supervisor that I need to go in and mark this complete. At this point in time, you can also see another time card has been added to the workflow. So at any given time, if I have a question about an individual time card, all I have to do is simply click, and at the click of a button, I can see the time card I just filled out. You can see that quality assurance check came in there. I was at 2 hours, 22 minutes. That exact form I just filled out is available at the click of a button. So once I check this off and I say, hey, looks good, I'm gonna select complete, and literally with the click of a button, an invoice has been created in my accounting software with a cumulative duration billed against an hourly rate. So you can predefine that. In our business, we operated anywhere between $40 and $60 an hour. So the system would automatically know, hey, the rate right now is 59, whatever the rate is. It would say 3.37 times 59. It would skip the mileage and it would say, hey, materials, and it would automatically know if the person's a member in our program. If not, if they're not a member, it would know to upcharge those 10, 20%, whatever you do in your company, that's up to you. But the system is smart enough to do it. Now this work order is in our invoicing software, ready to be billed to the client, literally with the click of a few buttons. And with you as the business owner being completely separated from the flow, you still are able to maintain full control and keep full data on all your systems. Like I said, this specific demonstration could be a business in its own and can get extremely complex. There's so many different things that we can do in the system, but as you can see, it's super powerful. I hope you see the power in this, that this is stronger than really any maintenance platform out there. And that's one realization I had as a business owner, is this is something I owned. I didn't have to pay per property. I didn't have to pay per work order. Once this was built, this maintenance program was built in my system, it was good to go forever. I could add unlimited employees, unlimited technicians. It really added a level of professionalism to my business that I never would have anticipated. This is super powerful stuff, and I think this is definitely one of everybody's favorite modules in the entire Podio for Property Manager series. And lastly, we can't forget everybody's favorite feature, which is the unparalleled documentation that this offers you. At any given time, throughout your entire organization, whoever's submitting a time card also has the ability to submit real-time photos and videos of where they're at, the before and after pictures, you name it. This documentation you can see is time-stamped. So in the case there's ever a dispute, you can literally pull up a photo and say, nope, this was taken this date, this time. You can see the damages done then. This is very powerful for inspection and even for receipts purchased and billed against the job. So in this case, this receipt would be billed in the materials column, but we would have proof of this purchase. So very powerful stuff that will not only propel your business, but protect your business and keep you moving forward at all times.